Yes, mate, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel, where we try to dominate FPL one game week at a time. So in today's video, I'm going to highlight my favourite defenders at every single price point. I'm going to start with the most expensive and then work my way down. Now, this isn't a definitive list. It's not you must own these defenders. Just my opinion, it's just defenders that I like the most at every single price point, to be honest. If you enjoy FPL content, please subscribe to the channel down below. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Get strong.
Right, mates, before we dive into the actual players themselves, I'm going to look at some predicted clean sheet percentage chances. This graph was made by 11ify. It's a free site. Go and check it out. It's great. They've got like predicted goal models and all sorts of things. But this is just highlighting the different clean sheet percentage chances that each team has over the first 6 game weeks. So they've got a total. So Arsenal at the top there are predicted to get 2.28 clean sheets over this over the first 6 game weeks. Last season, over the first 6 games, I think Liverpool got 4, Arsenal got 3, a few teams got 2, and then it kind of dwindled down quite a lot. So it is within that kind of range of kind of 3 to 4 of the really good teams. You expect them to get 3, 4, maybe something like that. It does kind of err on the side of caution when it comes to these things. As you can see, the different percentage chances where Arsenal playing Man United in game week 1, there's a 38% chance that Arsenal are going to keep a clean sheet. In game week 2, they've got a 52% chance because Arsenal are going to play Leeds at home, so it's a little bit better for them. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you're looking at certain teams that might have a great percentage chance further on down the line, like I'm looking at Nottingham Forest, where they've got 27% chance in game week 1, but they've only got 15% chance in game week 4. In game week 4, they're playing Arsenal away. You might look at someone that's got a decent game in game week 4. Like you might look at someone like Crystal Palace. I've got a 44% chance in game week 4, and Crystal Palace have got Sunderland at home. So just kind of making these combinations between players and trying to get the best possible chances between all those is probably the way to go. Like if you're looking at Spurs, who have got the best chance of keeping a clean sheet in game week 1 because they're playing Burnley at home, then you might look at maybe like a Burnley defender, like a really cheap Burnley defender for game week 2, and Burnley are playing Sunderland at home and they've got a 35% chance of keeping a clean sheet. So this is just a highlight, you can make combinations between these, and you can look at how your team can look over this period and try and kind of plan for this, because you don't want to make too many transfers. Right, mates, first up we've got the 6 million defenders. So these are the most expensive tier in the game this season, as opposed to previous seasons when it's been Trent at 7. I think even Andy Robertson was 6.5 at some point there as well. But the most expensive defender this year is 6 million, which I really like, and that's something that I predicted kind of moving into the season. And Van Dijk is by far and away my most my favourite defender to own for game week 1. I know people looking at the likes of Frimpong and Kirkez, and although I like those as options, I just feel like they're just such a massive minute risk. I can't see Kirkez coming in and totally ousting Robertson when Robertson is still, he's only 31, like he turned 31 in March, like he's still got legs, like he's still fine. He played 35 games last year. Like he's not going to go down to kind of small amount of minutes. I think that's going to be almost a 50-50 share between the two. Maybe Kirkez kind of nicking it most in, maybe even in like maybe even the easier games. Like Robertson for me he's been a solid defensive fullback as opposed to bombing forward, and I think Robertson might even play in the more difficult games, like playing against the likes of City and Arsenal and things like that. But it's the reason why I don't like that, and it's the exact same on the other side, and it's the reason why I don't love Frimpong early doors, because he's going to share minutes with Bradley. Everyone bangs on about how good Bradley is. I don't see Bradley getting no minutes at all. They've still got Joe Gomez, who can play either side as well. He's also going to get minutes, and apparently they're still looking at a centre back. They're looking at maybe someone like a Mark Gahey there as well. So the only one that for me is absolute nailed, guaranteed 90 minutes is Van Dijk. His data's great. His defensive contributions were incredible from last season. I think if it would have gone off last season's stats, he would have got defensive contribution points in like 30% of his games. He's not bad for bonus as well. Like he always pops up, and then he always pops up with a few goals as well. He's not got a bad start to the season, but as you saw from the clean sheet percentage graph that we saw a moment ago, that Liverpool are kind of second, and depending on which one you're looking at the top. So sticking to those guys, that's the reason why I've gone for Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. Like I can see the reason why you might want to put Chelsea up there as well. Like maybe someone like a Cucurella. I just don't love the Chelsea defence as a whole compared to these guys. That's the reason why Cucurella hasn't made this bracket. However, I do really like Cucurella. I had him one of my previous drafts. Like, he still might make my team as well. Chelsea have got some good games. Cucurella feels more like a set and forget for like 7-8 game weeks, and he's decent going forward. Just that Chelsea defense isn't great. I don't trust Rob Sanchez. I think he's terrible. I think the centre backs are okay, depending on like what combination they go for. I don't think Colwell's kicked on as much as I thought he was going to. Like, we all know like the injury issues with Reece James there as well. So there's just too many question marks about the defence as a whole, and that's the reason why I don't like him as much. And that's the reason why I've gone for Gabriel and Gvardiol. Like, we all know what Gabriel can do from set pieces. Like, we all know how good Arsenal can be. I don't think this is even a bad game. I'm a Man United fan. Like, we're just not attacking well. And like, I know we've signed Cunha and Mbeumo. I think it's going to take time for them to gel and kind of work things out. We're still looking for a striker as well. So whether that things change, like, depending on who the striker is and depending on what reports you read, it kind of ranges from the likes of Sesko to Jamie Vardy to everyone else in between. So I'm just not convinced that we're going to be able to cause them too many problems. I think this might be quite a boring game. It might be quite a stiff, kind of cautious game. I can see it, like, I can see there may be being 1 or 2 goals in it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if either team wins it 1-0 or it's like a 1-1 or something like that. But I like Gabriel and I like Arsenal defenders for the longer term, and that's the reason why I'd even consider him. I don't love him in this fixture, like, even though it's not bad. Like I said, it's always difficult for me from a biased point of view. So still love him. I still think he's great. If you want to go there, that makes perfect sense, and that's the exact same reason with Gvardiol as well. I think he's probably going to play more centre back this season, like with the likes of bringing Aït-Nouri in at left back. I think he might alternate between centre back and left back. He played an abnormal amount of minutes last season. I think he played something like 5,500 minutes last year in all comp. So I'm not worried about him as a minutes risk. I'm not worried about him in Pep's system. I think regardless of where he plays, I think he's good value. I think he's better as a left back as opposed to centre back. But when we have seen him play centre back, he usually does pretty well for bonus, and that's what I quite like about him. I feel like City have got a decent start to the season. City have got Wolves, Spurs, Brighton, Man United, Arsenal, and then Burnley over the first 6 games. So there are some potential for clean sheets in there, and that's the reason why I like them so much. But let's move on to the 5.5 million defenders, where I think there could be a lot of value in here. The first 5.5 million defender I wanted to talk about was Murillo, and maybe even as early as yesterday, it would have been Milenkovic, would have been high on the list. However, I watched above average FPL podcast last night and opened my eyes to Murillo. He's just a defensive contribution beast. I think he got in something like 55% of his games last season. Like, I just think his floor is so high, and I feel like Forest's fixtures over the first 6 aren't bad there as well. Like, Forest have got Brentford, Palace, West Ham, Arsenal. Yeah, it's not a great game, but then it's followed by Burnley and then Sunderland. So I feel like there's definitely clean sheet potential for these. And I know they're losing the Langard, probably going to lose Gibbs White as well, but they're still a solid defensive unit, and I still feel like they can continue that particularly for the early part of the season. Yeah, he's just an absolute beast, and I would have gone Milenkovic from, like, mainly from his goal threat as opposed to Murillo. But looking at those stats and hearing Baker and Adam talk about Murillo, I just don't see a world in where I don't have Murillo in my team. Like unless things change from Forest defensive unit point of view, I just don't see a world in where I don't have Murillo. I think he's just an absolute nailed on beast. It just makes so much sense. I think his point tally over the course of the season, assuming that Forest kind of keep up what they did last year, could be on par with the likes of Van Dijk, Gabriel and Gvardiol. So that, like, for me, that's the reason why it makes so much sense. Moving on to next up, we've got Daniel Munoz, also 5.5 million. Chelsea in his first game, although that's not ideal. Crystal Palace then do have Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa away, Sunderland, West Ham, and then Liverpool. We all know how good he is going forward. Like, he's basically like a right winger. He doesn't offer as much kind of bonus point potential and defensive contributions of the likes of Murillo, but like he's still decent. But he's there purely from an attacking point of view. He's just an absolute beast going forward. And we also how good they can do. I'd have probably some reservations for any Palace players. Like, they didn't start the season particularly well last season, and and the teams have got progressively better over the course of the season. And then it was kind of like, felt like the last 10, 15 games, like Palace were just incredible. Like, especially like an Eze as well. Like he was so poor for the first 20, 25 games. And those last 10, 15 games, like he must have got a goal or an assist every other game. It's an absolute beast, but I still like Munoz. Like, he still makes the list for me, and that's the reason why I've picked him. Last but not least, we have got Branthwaite, and I know people aren't as high on Everton defenders as I am. I really like Branthwaite. He missed some of the season last year with through injury, and we saw when David Moyes did come in, they were just a better team. And I think that will continue. They've got a great game week 1 fixture with Leeds away, and then they've got some decent games around that as well, where they could keep some clean sheets, where they've got Brighton in game week 2, followed by Wolves, Aston Villa, Liverpool and West Ham. He's only 5.5 million. I think he's going to be great for defensive contributions as well. I think him and his defensive partner, Tarkowski, I think both of them are going to be really good. So I don't think it matters which one you go for. I just prefer Branthwaite because he's a little bit younger. His potential for improvement is higher than Tarkowski. So that's the reason I'm going for Branthwaite. I really like these as a kind of 6 defensive unit. If you think I've missed anybody, I've tried to explain the reasons why I'm not looking at the likes of Frimpong or Kirkheads. But if you do think I've missed anybody, leave a comment down below and let me know who you're thinking of buying for game week 1. Moving on to the mid-price 5 million tier, and first up we've got Anthony Robinson for Fulham with his first game is Brighton away, only 5 million. We all saw how good he was last year, and I don't think Fulham were great defensively. I think they have to improve. He's great going forward, is great at getting assists, he's great at getting attacking returns. I think if he can fine-tune, or the Fulham defence can fine-tune their clean sheet output, I think they only got 3 or 5 last year. Like, it was nothing really, and I did think they would be better than that. And I think if they increase that to maybe 8, 9, 10, I think Robinson goes from a good option to a great option, and he might be someone that we're looking at now where we can't quite afford the most expensive players, but getting to Robinson might be the way to go. Keep an eye on him. I feel like Fulham haven't got bad games. I feel like everyone's got decent games over the longer term, and this is where the league becomes so difficult, where every game is just a tough game. They start Brighton away, then Man United at home, Chelsea away, Leeds at home, Brentford at home, then Aston Villa away. He feels more of a longer term option than some other ones. Probably more of a shorter term option is someone like somebody like Romero, where he's playing Burnley at home in game week 1. I know he's rash. I don't even rate him. Like, I think he's a bang average defender, and that's gonna blow people's minds. I just don't see it. I don't think he's great at anything really. Every time I watch him, I don't think he looks good, but I still like him as an option. And the reason what that comes down to is Thomas Frank. And I think if he can get them solid and get them in a solid defensive unit, whether they play 3 at the back or 4 at the back, I think it's going to suit Romero. Just having a, how can I say this without offending Ange, a competent manager, like a competent defensive structured manager. I think that's just going to help Romero. I think if he can keep his head, I think he's going to be great. But we all know how aggressive he has been in the past. I think if you are looking at any Spurs players, just knowing game week 2 they are playing Man City, so just have a backup option in place, like have a 4.5 or 4 million defender on the bench, like we spoke about earlier. Might looking at someone from like maybe Burnley, who play Sunderland in game week 2, that can come in for Romero, cover Romero or any other Spurs defender for that game week 2 fixture against Man City, and then Romero can come back in. Last but not least, we put Aina. I don't feel like there's a ton of 5 million options, to be honest. I feel like Robinson is by far and away the best option, but the reason why I've gone for Aina is just because he plays for Forest and they're a good defence. He's not as great on the defensive contributions as I thought he would be, and I think it surprised a lot of people just how far down he is. He's just so far forward all the time. Like, he just bumps forward all the time. Scored he scored some absolute screamers last year. I don't see him replicating that. I think Forest will drop off from what they did last year, but I think even if they do maybe mid-table, I still think they'll keep 10, 12 clean sheets, and Aina could. And if Aina keeps his place, then he's going to get those points. Like, he's still going to get some attacking returns in there as well. So that's the reason why he makes the list. Let's move on to the 4.5 million defenders. The first option probably comes as no surprise, and that's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think they've undervalued him here. I think he should be 5 million, but he's only 4.5. They've got Sunderland in the first game. Great price, great tackler. I think he'll do well for defensive contributions. He probably didn't do as well as what he thought, as I thought he would do. I think he would have got them in maybe 8 to 10 games last year, whereas I thought he'd be closer to someone like Murillo 50% of the time, but he's not. I think West Ham can only improve under Potter, so as a result of that, like, Wan-Bissaka just makes the team for me. Like, he's either going to be starting most weeks for me, or he's going to be my first sub. And I haven't quite decided the structure of my team, but I think he almost makes it, to be honest. Next up, we've got Mark Gay, and similar to Wan-Bissaka, I just think he's underpriced. I think Palace are underappreciated and undervalued defence, and these could easily keep a lot of clean sheets this year. And if Gay does make his move to somebody like Liverpool, then he just becomes a game breaker, and everybody owns Matt Gay for pretty much the whole season. So I think they've underpriced him a little bit, and that's the reason why I like him so much. Solid defender, solid team. Probably weren't as good as they were in recent times, but if they can kind of sort things out the back, start keeping more clean sheets, then I think he's going to become a great option. Last but not least, we've got Joachim Anderson. I actually owned him for a lot of last season because he was only 4 million, and he probably disappointed a little bit, just down to the fact he was injured a lot of the time. Fulham didn't defend particularly well, like I mentioned earlier with Robinson. They just didn't keep enough clean sheets. If they can get better and they can have a better defensive structure, Anderson again could become a game breaker. He was solid at Palace. He's had some injury issues since going to Fulham. If he can stay fit, I think he's going to be really good. I think a combination of someone like a Wan-Bissaka and Anderson as well, I just think looks really nice. I think 2 premium guys, whether that's a 6 and a 5.5, and then 2 4.5s with maybe like a 4 million defender. I think that's quite an ideal setup. Maybe like a little bit more, and you might have maybe 2 premiums and a 5.5 or something like that. But I think Anderson is kind of there or thereabouts. And as much as I like Wan-Bissaka, maybe I don't need both of them. And maybe it's a case of, do I go for Anderson over Wan-Bissaka or vice versa? That's just something that we can kind of look at as pre-season moves along and as we approach game week 1. But let's take a look at some budget options. To be honest, there's actually not a lot of budget options that I think are guaranteed to play. I've tried to select a few here, and I'm seeing a lot of people select these, so I don't think these will come as any kind of major surprise. We've got Esteve from Burnley, who was actually Burnley's player of the season last year, I believe. He's only 4 million. He's linked with a lot of teams, whether he gets to summer move away, but I think he's almost guaranteed to start. I think Tuanzebe is also 4 million. I think he's a decent option there as well. You got some like a Rodon from Leeds, who could have made this list, but I think they're all pretty good at it and there as well. Like we saw on the spreadsheet about the clean sheet percentages, Burnley have got a decent chance in game week 2, and I think it was game week 4 or 5 where they've got some decent clean sheet odds. They've got Sunderland in game week 2, and I think it's Nottingham Forest in game week 4 or 5. So that's the reason why I like Esteve or a Burnley defender for those, just to maybe cover those, and whether they actually come into the team doesn't really matter. I think they're just there just to kind of play and kind of plug any gaps in case you get any kind of injuries. Second up, we've got Vuskovic, and this is just a bit of kind of like a kind of gamble one. I'm seeing a few people talk about him. Thomas Frank came out and said, or it looks like Thomas Frank really likes him because I think he's played a few minutes in pre-season, and if they do play 3 at the back, then they could maybe go Romero, Van der Ven and Vuskovic as a back 3, but they do have a lot of central defenders, like they've got Danso, they've got Dregish in there as well, so they do have options, but I think he's only 18, 19, something like that, so there's massive upside with someone like a Vuskovic, and not a lot of kind of, it's kind of like a low risk, high reward for me. If it looks like he's going to start and get minutes, then he's got to come into the team. And last but not least, we've got Hover from Wolves. He's been on loan for the past couple of years. I really liked him when he used to play the Championship fantasy football game Gaffer. He used to play for Stoke, and he was an absolute beast in that game. He went on loan to a French team last year, but I can't think who it was. And it looks like Wolves don't have a lot of cover in the fullback area, so they've sold Eight Nora. I think Semedo's gone on a free. He can play both sides, so there is potential there for him to kind of come in and play straight away. I hope he stays, and if if they don't sign a replacement for either one of the fullbacks, I hope he gets a Premier League move, or like whether that's loan or transfer, because then we'd have a 4 million playing defender. Keep an eye on this one. Hopefully some more emerge as we start approaching the season. I still like Aiden Heaven from Man United. I just don't think he's going to start much. He plays that left centre-back role. We've got Martinez come back from an injury. We've got Luke Shaw who can play there as well. So like we do have options in that position. So as much as I like Heaven and he made my first draft, I just don't think he's going to play much, particularly early on. I think he will get game time. I think it's just going to be sporadic, to be honest with you. Again, if you think I've missed anybody from the mid-tier or the budget, leave a comment down below. Right, mates, that's it for the video. So we looked at my favourite defenders from every single price point. Like I said, like, don't get too hurt. Like, if I've not spoke about your favourite defender or player from your team, this is just what I like at the minute. These are just defenders that I like the most at the minute. Like it can change as pre-season progresses. Like, there might be transfers, there might be injuries that kind of shuffle some things around. I think the most ideal setup is maybe 2 or 3 premiums, a 4.5 and a 4 million defender. So for me right now, I've got Van Dijk, I'm current on Gabriel, and then I've got Murillo, Wan-Bissaka and Esteve are my 5 defenders as of right now. Like I said, things might change. I would lean more towards looking at the defenders from the better teams and look at the graph that's shown at right at the beginning of the video where it's looking at clean sheet percentages. Try and focus on the teams that have actually got a high percentage chance of keeping clean sheets. Focus on the good teams. Pick the good defenders from the good teams. Like, don't mess around with it. Like, for me, it just doesn't make sense. Enjoy today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. Have a good day. Peace and love.